Good morning, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mahamani. I hope you all are doing good. Let's see what we have got in today's The Hindu. Today is Sunday. I'm sure you all are enjoying your Sunday. Do let me know how you are planning to enjoy your Sunday. And let's have a positive start with a French quote. What it says is that for a valiant heart, nothing is impossible. This is very true because without courage, you cannot do anything in your life. Your determination, your willpower, if you care for someone, everything, your preparation, everything is based on the amount of courage that you have in your mind and in your heart. Without courage, trust me, nothing is possible at all. Even stepping out from your bed early in the morning requires courage. Without courage, you won't have this determination and willpower and other things. So think about it. I'm not trying to impose my views here. Think about it, whether this statement is right or wrong. And the reason why I said that we are going to start, or we will start our day with a quote from France, is because we have Emmanuel Macron, president of France, here in our country. You can see he is walking with our president and prime minister. Both countries have decided that we are going to join hands in ensuring freedom of navigation in Indo-Pacific region. Now the thing is, we know that France is a European country. Then why it is interested in Indo-Pacific region? Why we are saying that we are going to cooperate with each other in space security and maritime domain? Because we are very far from each other. Then why is it so? Is it something to do with Make in India? Is it something to do with Rafale and defense cooperation? Let's find out. The main reason here is that you find French overseas territories in Indian Ocean. You have this Reunion Islands, Reunion Island and other islands here in Indian Ocean. You find this, see here, let me zoom it up for you a little bit so it is clear to you. So you can see here, this is our portion India here, and as you come down a little bit nearby Africa, Madagascar surrounding it, you have a couple of islands. Mauritius is not far from here. Then you have some islands in this Antarctic portion as well. The interesting thing about France that I find is that they have this overseas territories in Indian Ocean. They have it in Pacific Ocean, both sides, right? You have it here as well, and here you have French Polynesia. Here you have this small island in this Pacific waters. You have islands in Atlantic Ocean as well, and nearby USA as well. So you can see this is itself a very unique feature of France, and they have a small island in this Italian waters as well. This was highlighted, or it was this particular Korsova or something. I forgot the exact name of this island, but I remember it became very famous because it was there in a Indian film, Ranbir and Deepika, I think, Korsova or something. I cannot remember the exact name here, but this is the place here in Mediterranean waters. So this is, you can say, a unique feature of France, and this is the reason why it is interested in Indo-Pacific region. Now we know about Indo-Pacific region. We have talked about it many a times, but before moving on to another items, I would like to inform all of you that this is my Facebook page here. You can download PDF of this lecture from my Facebook page. Our pen drive and tablet courses are available. You can check out StudyIQ.com to find out about UPSC courses. You have this geography, history, SNT, ecology and economics. You have optional subjects as well. You have defense exam courses and SSC and bank courses and state level exams and much more. MCQs are available. Test series are available. So check out StudyIQ.com. With this, let's get back to this joint strategic vision. Together, we have decided that we will tackle challenges to overflight and threat of weapons of mass destruction. You know, political parties in many countries, they are working with terrorist organizations. I'm talking about Pakistan to be precise. You know that a couple of weeks or months ago, this banned organization in Pakistan said that they are interested in campaigning, or they are interested in taking part in this election in Pakistan, this next general election that is just around the corner. So just imagine a scenario where you have Hafiz Saeed and this sort of people, right? They are coming, or Masood Azhar and this sort of people, if they are winning election, or if they are becoming minister or prime minister of that particular country, then you know they will have access to this mass destructive weapons, and it will create a big ruckus in the whole world. They can supply it to other terrorist organizations like ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and then you know the damage that these organizations can do to the peace and humanity and the overall world. So it is very important that big countries, powerful countries like India and France, they come together and fight this sort of threats that are lurking on our head. Then you have this they decided that we are going to work together for countering maritime terrorism and piracy, building maritime domain awareness, greater cooperation in regional international fora in the region. And this is the most interesting one, right? They are together, we are in fact seeking to extend logistical support on reciprocal access. Now let me break it down for you. So here together what we are trying to do is we will be able to use French facilities, their naval bases and warships and other things. We can use their facilities and they can use our facilities. Much more on this thing we will see in near future, but this is a very big deal, or you can say this indicates the amount of trust we have in this relationship. Both sides are interested in doing this thing. So this is the biggest, you can say one of the biggest takeaway from Indo-French relationship, or this particular visit of Emmanuel Macron. This is the second major maritime agreement India has signed in the last 6 months following this quadrilateral agreement. Apart from that, if you see the nature of France and its acceptability in India, particularly this political acceptability, it is accepted. France is accepted across Indian political spectrum. We have signed a new protocol of exchanging classified information as well. Then DRDO and a French firm. Now this is a question for you guys. Do let me know the name of a French firm that is a counterpart, you can say, of DRDO, that is going to help us with this Tejas fighters as well. We are working on this Rafale deal. You know, this recently launched INS Calvary, and a special video lecture is available on INS Calvary if you want to check it out. It is available out there. Very interesting ship this one is, and this is basically a submarine, and we have developed it with the help of France, transfer of technology, and we have created this thing, manufactured it under this Make in India. So in this term as well, we are working together in terms of space technology. We are working together in terms of defense products. Good technological products are coming from, or we are buying it from France. We are producing it here. So you can safely say that a relationship between France and India, the spectrum is ranging from earth to the sky, or in fact below water, from your submarine level to your space or beyond that. So this is the beauty of this relationship. French president has said that it is working to make India, or it wants India to become its first strategic partner in this region, Indo-Pacific region, or Indian region to be more precise. And he has also said that France will do everything so that France becomes India's first strategic partner when it comes to Europe. That's everything regarding Indo-French connection. Today we are going to find out more about International Solar Alliance. So hopefully tomorrow, or maybe in forthcoming future, we will talk about ISA as well. I may bring out a special video lecture on this thing. I'm working on it at present. Anyways, people want development and not protest. We know this whole parliament, the second phase of budget session, this week, right, starting from Monday to Friday, it was washed out, nearly washed out. Protests were going on and things like that. And this one is important for your mains examination. When I say mains examination, keep this thing in mind that I'm talking about your I'm talking about your essay, not prelims, but your essay, your GS paper, as well as your interview. So Prime Minister said that at present the biggest challenge that we find is lack of governance. Earlier on, shortage of money and resources were the main issues. Now we have money, now we have resources, but we find this lack of governance at different levels, and this is something that is creating this hurdle or hindrance. It is creating hindrance when it comes to our need for development. He said that time has changed. He was addressing this National Legislature's conference at Parliament House, and he has said that time has changed now. Political parties who are working on this hardcore politics, creating protests and things like that, they should change the way they are dealing, because this is not something that we want. The people of our country, they don't want this sort of thing, and I believe this is right as well. If you see, then you will find that all those students or non-students, right, common citizen, if you see them when they are watching TV, when they see this sort of things, they will say that our politicians or our people are doing all the time there. So there is a sort of criticism, right? People are not fancying this thing when they see it on their television, this protests and this ruckus and chokehold going on in our parliament. He talked about 115 aspirational districts, and this is a shade here that you have to catch, right? Rather than terming them aspirational or backward, we are terming them aspirational, and this is the change in mindset that we want. When I say this particular district is an aspirational district, then I'm focusing more on its positive side rather than negative side when I say that it is a backward district. So this is a change in mindset that the government is trying to do here in 115 districts. And imagine when we talk about 115 districts of our country, a big country like India, a populated country like India, then you are talking about a population equivalent to a country in Europe. So it's not a small thing to change the face of this 115 districts, but it can be done if we have young dynamic officers who are ready to give everything they can, if they are able to, or who are willing to work as a change agent, right? They are ready to change this backwardness into aspiration, then we can do it. With this e-way bill will be rolled out by April 1st, has been said by Finance Minister. 26th meeting of GST Council took place. You know, GST Council is the top body when it comes to decisions that are pertaining to GST, and it has decided that in small segments or phases this e-way bill will be implemented. Different segments will be launched every week, and by the end of April the entire process should be completed. If you need e-way bill, if you want to transport goods of a value more than 50,000 rupees, we have talked about e-way bill in detail, so I'm not going into the details of how it works and things like that. You have this WHO, right? World Health Organization has said that we have to fight against tobacco. The thing is, tobacco is a big killer throughout the world, and in India the problem is a bit severe because we have different forms of tobacco products here. You have this smoking tobacco, and if you go visit hospitals, people suffering from heart disease and blood pressure and other things, strokes, paralysis, strokes and other things, then you will find that BDs, right, this Indian handmade BDs, are the biggest cause of cancer, or you can say this lungs related disease, heart related disease. One of the biggest causes this BDs. They are cheap, and because they are cheap, they are consumed or smoked by people, particularly poor people, right? They do labor class. I'm not saying everyone, but most of them, they are what I have observed, right? You find this trend of BD is quite prevalent in this class, and because they are cheap, you don't have this control on how many you smoke a day, and this creates a big problem in your elder life. When you cross 50 or 60, then you find the signs of, or negative signs of, BDs. Then you have cigarettes. Of course, you know the damage of cigarette. And then you have this chewing tobacco. You have different forms of chewing tobacco in our country, gutkhas, and you have in pans and other things, and then you have it in your this sniffing tobacco. I'm sure you might have seen this thing. It is a bit out of date now, out of fashion now, but still you find this sniffing tobacco, particularly the dadis and grannies, right? They used to sniff this thing, and then you have nowadays there are many youngsters, they are, as a fashion, they have started sniffing this tobacco. So this is one of the big reason, because we have this variety of tobacco products in our country. It is also creating big problem, and it is taking many lives. It is costing us very badly, dearly, because we have to spend huge amount of money for this hospitals and other things. Now the problem with tobacco industry is that you have farmers in different pockets in our country. They are engaged in tobacco production. Of course, the thing is they will make good money if they produce something that is necessary and healthy, but it is difficult to change what they are doing. It means you have to persuade them and things like that. But you have this powerful tobacco companies as well, this Manik Chand, and then you have the other cigarette producing companies, and they are very powerful, they are rich, and they know how to lobby and other things. So this is a big problem that we have to face, but together we can, right, with willpower, and again, as I told you, with courage. We need courage to fight this menace. Coral sediments in oceans could dissolve by next century. This is not the first time we are saying this thing, but the reason why today's particular this item is important, because you find questions in your prelims examination based on this particular thing. Hold on a second, I'm just going to note it down here. Right, okay, not working. I want a blank sheet. Anyways, so I'll write it down here. It will help you immensely with your prelims examination. You find at least one question on this type, and many important details here, and I don't want you guys to miss anything out of this discussion. Make sure you download this particular PDF and go through it. Read this item twice, thrice if you have to. Of course, I'm explaining important bits and pieces here. So, you know, oceans, you have this coral reefs in ocean, in Indian waters as well. We have it. This Lakshadweep island is made up of, it is basically an coral island. Then you have Australia's eastern portion. You find this Great Barrier Reef, and then you have other nearby Indonesia and other places. Now, these coral reefs, they are important because they support this biodiversity that you find beneath water. It is basically tropical jungle or underneath your water. I'm just giving you an example, right? So it's equivalent to tropical jungle, evergreen jungle, tropical evergreen jungle, something like that, because the most diversity that you find is in tropical evergreen jungles, isn't it, in terms of flora and fauna. Same thing applies underneath water. Coral reefs are predominantly, you can say, spots of biodiversity underwater, right? I hope this thing is clear, and it is very important. This is the reason why I'm repeating here myself. Then you have these coral reefs, right? They are formed by not just the calcium carbonate skeletons of these polyps. You have these tiny animals, polyps. When they die, their skeleton will get deposited in the, if imagine this is ocean floor or sea floor, then it will get deposited here, and after thousands of years you find a big island over here, right? And it is made up of this skeletons of this polyps, which has this calcium carbonate, but it also has this carbonate sediments, right, which accumulate on them in the sense on this calcium carbonate skeletons, and then you have this island. But what is happening at present is, because of greenhouse gas that is emitted by us, oceans are getting more and more acidic, and acidic basically means when your seawater's pH level is going down. So it is getting more and more. You have either acidic or you have this pH. So if pH is going down, acidity is growing up, and because of this thing, this carbonate sediments, right, they are getting affected with the help of this acidification, and then they are getting dissolved, and then your coral reefs are getting destroyed. So this is how it works. I hope this is absolutely clear. If not, then read it twice, I would reckon. So in Lakshadweep, we saw this bleaching. Bleaching is a process where you find these coral reefs are getting washed or getting destroyed. So this took place back in 1998, in 2010 and 2016. And Australian universities, they are working on it. They are trying their level best to restore this or stop this acidification and this bleaching process in different parts of Australia or different waters of Australia. And of course, they are helping other countries as well to protect these coral reefs. So scientists are saying that by the turn of this century or end of this century, we will get, means the way things are going on, if nothing is done about it, then we won't see any coral reefs at all. In Indian waters, you find coral reefs in 3062 square kilometer area, and this one is a very important item, that coral reefs, right, many coral species are afforded or they are protected with this Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. Similar protection is given to tigers as well, so you can understand its importance. And coral systems, as I told you, support a biodiversity of fish species and local communities who are directly dependent on, or fishermen, right, their livelihood and their life as well is dependent on these corals indirectly. Electricity from soil bacteria, a new interesting finding from a Netherlands university. Basically, you know, this photosynthesis process, this is done by trees. Underneath your trees or in this you can say land portion underneath your soil, you have this bacteria, and they do this electrochemistry. They use this thing, electrochemistry, this photosynthesis is, photo basically means light, so photochemistry is done by trees underneath, nearby the roots. You have this bacteria and micro organism, they do this electrochemistry, and they produce this positive and negative ions. Now scientists are saying that they can plug wires and they can produce tiny power from this thing, this ions that they find underneath soil. So this can help in electricity production in future because it is completely natural, environment friendly and things like that. Of course, we know it is at a very invention level at present, very inceptional level here, but in near future we can find something on it. Then you have this firefly as well. You might have watched it on television, different channels like Discovery and Net Geo and things like that. So they use this luciferin, a molecule called luciferin, and it is converted into oxyluciferin, and then you have this visible light. So keep this thing in mind, right? It is a GK thing. If you find this type of questions, then either you know it or you don't know it, and I don't want you to miss out on anything. Last item that we have in today's discussion is about this Autonomous National Broadcast Trust. A couple of days ago we saw this thing in news item. It was coming from Prasar Bharati chairman. He was not happy with the behavior of I&B ministry and bureaucrats of I&B ministry, so he said that something should be done about it, because autonomy is provided to Prasar Bharati by this parliament. But then as well you have this ministers and you have bureaucrats who are trying to force Prasar Bharati to do what they want. Anyway, so back in 1977, 40 years ago, there was a 12-member working group, BG Varghese, and one of the interesting recommendations, this basically I'm talking from an Indian Express article. This is the only item that I have added from Indian Express today because we don't have editorials today. This was published a couple of days ago, so I thought let me share it with you guys here. A very interesting view here, just in case if you find a question on freedom of press and things like that. So BG Varghese said that all the members of this BG Varghese working group, they came out with this recommendation that we should amend our constitution. We should declare this new National Broadcast Trust as a corporate citizen of the country, and by doing this, by giving this title to this NBT, corporate citizen of the country, we are basically bestowing fundamental right of freedom of speech and expression to this new NBT, and it will be protected by Article 19. So you are giving the same powers that a human being has, and by doing this we will ensure complete independence of this NBT from the government control, and then you can have free and fair news without any intervention of the government. So this is a very interesting view from this committee. Remember the name of this committee as well and the idea that is provided by this committee. That's everything that we have got in today's discussion. As you know, today we don't have any editorials and things like that, so we have just important news item, but this French news item was the most important one, and I have two questions that are pertaining to history of France and India. It will give you a bit of historic touch as well, so you will come to know about this historical relationship that we have with France. And don't forget to check out StudyIQ.com for pen drive and tablet courses. I will share this PDF on my Facebook page. You can follow me, you can get in touch with me as well. I would request all of you to do share these lectures with your friends as well. It will take just 1 second or one click for you to share it, but it can change a day of a person, because here what we talk about, I believe you will agree on this thing, that we share a good quality of item for you guys, and it is for free as well, isn't it? So it is basically helping someone else, helping your colleague or your mate. So enjoy your Sunday, and do let me know how you are planning to make the most out of this Sunday. I would be eagerly waiting for your comments, and bonjour, Jai Hind.